So in lesson 5-5, we're going to learn about how to divide fractions today. First thing I want you to do is to decode the word reciprocal. We're decoding reciprocal. So I'd probably do reciprocal. And we are going to practice singing this. Is actually a word. Today in one of my algebra classes, we were working with reciprocals. So there's proof right there that what we're learning this year is going to help prepare us for next year. We were doing reciprocals today in 8th grade. All right, and we're going to practice saying this word out loud together. So our first and only vocab word today is reciprocal. What's the word, class? Reciprocal. I want to hear everybody. Ready? One more time. Reciprocal. Reciprocal. Good. Good. All right. A reciprocal is when you switch the numerator and denominator. So a reciprocal is when you switch the numerator and denominator. So in your example box, let's say you have the fraction 2/3. Who can raise their hand and tell me what is the fraction? Or I'm sorry, the numerator. Who can raise their hand and tell me the numerator from this fraction? 2, very good. So I'm going to take the 2 from my numerator and I'm going to move it to my denominator. So the 2 is going to move down to my denominator. Who can raise their hand and tell me what the denominator is in this fraction? 3. So I'm going to take the denominator and I'm going to move it to the numerator. You'll see. So the reciprocal of 2/3, if your fraction is 2/3, the reciprocal is 3/2. All that you'll have to do is flip the numerator and the denominator around. That's a reciprocal. Go ahead. Yep. Well, that would be just switching the order of the numbers. Let's say we had a whole number. That's a good question. Go ahead and write the whole number 15. Go and write 15. In order to do a reciprocal, our number has to be a fraction first. So who thinks they could raise their hand and tell me, how do I write 15 as a fraction? 15 is a whole number. We can write it as a fraction. How can I write 15 as a fraction? 15 over 1. So go ahead and write the 15 as 15 over 1. You writing that down? So now we need to switch the numerator and the denominator. So the 15 is currently in the numerator. Move that to your denominator. The 1 is in your denominator, so put that in your numerator. So the reciprocal of 15 is 1 over 15. Exactly. Yep, very good. So let's jump down here to this example. Our first example, we actually have a mixed number. This is 4 2/5. A lot of students, and what I'm going to show you right here is actually wrong. So I'm going to do it in pink. This is wrong. So don't do this. Don't do this, okay? A lot of students like to do this. They switch this around, right? Yeah, because we still have that whole number. So who thinks they could tell me what I should do first? There's one extra step we have to do first to truly get the reciprocal. Yes, very good. Let's go ahead and multiply. We're going to say this together, so I want you guys to help me. We're turning the mixed number into an improper fraction. So multiply 5 times 4, and altogether, what's 5 times 4, class? 20. Let's try that again. Altogether, what's 5 times 4, class? 20. add the 2. What's 20 plus 2? 22. So we get 22 over 5. Now go ahead and do the reciprocal. And raise your hand when you've got your answer. So now I want you to take the reciprocal. And raise your hand once you've got it. Very good. Your answer is 5 over 22. What? That's what for reciprocal, yes. If the directions say to find the reciprocal, that's the reciprocal. Go ahead. No, you don't need to. No. All right. Go ahead and do these next two. Go ahead. Yep. Exactly. That's it. Nothing. We're going to have to use reciprocals to divide fractions. So we're learning this so that way we can divide fractions. All right, who can raise their hand and tell me the reciprocal of 12? And if you need to, look back at this example here, and you need the reciprocal of 12. Yeah, 1/12. Very good. 12 as a fraction would be 12 over 1. So your reciprocal is 1/12. Who can raise their hand and give me the reciprocal here? Yep, so 3 over 7 was the initial, so the reciprocal is 7/3. So that's how you do a reciprocal. We're going to use reciprocals when we're dividing fractions. So go ahead and flip to this example. Kind of, yes, you're exactly right. What we're going to be doing is using reciprocals. We are going to turn our division problems into multiplication problems. So to divide by a fraction, I've got a little note right here that says to divide by a fraction, all that you have to do is multiply by the reciprocal. So last year when we learned this, we learned something called KCF. So I want you to go ahead and write a K above the 2/5, a C above the division, and an F above the 2/15. Very good. Raise your hand if you think you know what KCF stands for. Or even better yet, turn and talk it over with your table partner. What do you think KCF stands for? See if you remember from last year. C, not KFC, it's KCF. Very good. So we've got a Corral response to go along with this. And it sounds a little something like this. You need to keep your first fraction the same. Very good. Let's try that again. Ready? Keep your first fraction the same. So go ahead and keep the 2/5. Yep. So keep your first fraction the same. That's what the K stands for. The K stands for keep. So keep your first fraction the same. Change division to multiplication. Good. So for our Corral response, you guys are going to say multiplication. Ready? Change division to. All right, I want to hear everybody. Change division to multiplication. Good. And flip your second fraction. So for my second fraction, instead of 2/15, I'm going to flip it. Now, the flip is simply just the reciprocal. But what sounds cooler? Keep, change, flip, or keep, change, reciprocal? You like reciprocal? All right, you could do KCR if you want to. Basically, your flip is you're writing the reciprocal of 2/15 is 15/2. So go ahead and write this down if you haven't already written it. Raise your hand if you see some cross canceling. Anything that I can cross cancel. 2 and 2 are both divisible by what? 2. So we get a 1 and a 1. So cross off your 2's and replace them with 1's. Raise your hand if you see some more cross canceling. Right. Good. What are they divisible by? 3 is a part of the fact family. So divide them by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So you have the right fact family there. So then go ahead and multiply. What's 1 times 3? 3. What's What's 1 times 1? So you could write 3 over 1, or you could simply write 3.